Over the last week, the city of Valencia, Spain, experienced great loss and are still grappling with the situation at hand. I didn't find it appropriate to have my normal peppy upbeat video about one of the many other topics I cover. Rather, I'd like to take this time to explain the flooding situation as best I know it, give you an update about the town where I own a home in the Valencia region, share about why I love Valencia and the people there, and offer the resources I know of for ways to get involved and help with the recovery. Speaking of that, I'm going to ask you as a way to help to simply watch any ads that pop up during or after this video. All of the ad revenue that comes into this channel from this video will be donated to helping the people of Valencia. And if you share and others watch, it helps even more. It's something very small that you can do, but please listen until the end for how you can do even more. For those of you who aren't already familiar, on Tuesday, October 29th, the region of Valencia experienced what is called a cold drop. This phrasing is used in Spain and France to describe a weather phenomenon that can occur in autumn, and it is a characteristic of the Mediterranean climate. So this is generally caused by upper-level low-pressure systems that detach from the eastward circulation. This causes warmer and humid air to either hover or move westward, which is a result of an overheated Mediterranean in the fall. If you've been watching any of the news on this, many people are pointing to climate change as the culprit. If you visited Spain over the last few summers, you know it has been brutally hot and the warm weather has been continuing further into the year than what we've seen in previous normal years. Valencia is on the east coast of Spain, right between the middle of the coastline, between the north and south of Spain. Unfortunately, Valencia is not a stranger to major floods. If you visited the city of Valencia before, you have probably heard of Torre Garden, which is a park that stretches over 5 miles long through the center of the city, leading toward the coastal area and the Arts and Science Center. The thing about the very special garden is that it was once a river. On October 14th, 1957, they experienced this same phenomenon, the cold drop. This lasted over 3 days with the Torre River flooding over into the city and 81 people lost their lives. It was devastating. Since then, it has been referred to as the Great Flood of Valencia. Up to 75 floods are estimated to have taken place in the 7 centuries prior to the 1957 flood. To prevent this from happening in the future, they began to devise a project where the river would be diverted and the portion of the riverbed that would now be dry would be turned into a green space. I don't know much about whether or not Valencia has experienced any minor flooding since then, but what happened this week was unexpected, so much so that many people didn't receive a warning in time. The cold drop that took place this last Tuesday caused an unreal amount of rain, producing more rain in 8 hours than the area had received in the previous 20 months in total. I was reading a CNN article this morning where one man said he had a client cancel due to traffic, and so he went home that day, which may have ended up saving his life. After he got home, he saw reports from a town just upriver of cars floating in rising waters. He knew it was headed his way. He rushed to his balcony and could see the water had already arrived at his door. He didn't receive a warning until an hour later on his cell phone. And unfortunately, the incredibly fast downpour of rain, coupled with a response that was quite frankly too late, meant that several people ended up trapped in basements or areas of their home where they were unable to get out. A truly heartbreaking outcome. At the time of writing the script, more than 200 people have lost their lives, and efforts are still underway to find other missing persons. Unfortunately, they expect the death toll to double in the coming days as there are still many people missing. From what I've read, people in the government are pointing fingers at each other for the failure to warn citizens in time. Much of the flooding took place in nearby towns in the morning. By 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the water had taken over areas of Valencia and the emergency systems were flooded with cries for help. A text was not sent out to residents in Valencia until 8 p.m., so there was clearly a failure here. I'm not super familiar with the local workings of the government in Spain, but I feel like I can say with confidence that no one wanted to see this happen or intended to make such drastic mistakes. I'm sure the voices of the people in Spain will hold offices accountable for emergency response preparedness so that in the future, the actions of the government will align with the intention of keeping its citizens safe. On Wednesday this last week, I began receiving messages from friends, family, and followers who wanted to check on me. Thank you so much to those who thought of me and reached out. I have been back in the US for a couple of weeks, so I wasn't present for the flooding. My home in Spain is in the small town of Pego. I was concerned for my friend who lives in a lower-lying area, but after speaking with him, found that our entire area in and around Pego was not severely affected in the same way that Valencia had been just north of us. My friend said that he had heard that Gandia and Cullera had been hit quite a bit harder than our area had been, though I haven't seen any specific reports about those cities. If you know, please let us know in the comments. I have such a love in my heart for the city and the people of Valencia. This was the first city I visited in Spain, and the region has come to be my second home. Obviously, it is gut-wrenching to witness people anywhere who are suffering from natural disasters, but my heart so goes out to the joyous people of Valencia. I have never in my life seen a people who celebrate daily life and relationships with joy like the people of this city and region. It is truly special. And to know that they are walking through such an incredibly difficult situation just leaves me hoping and praying that they get the support and help they need, and that they are able to rebuild quickly, and that their hearts are able to process the grief of this situation. I've lived through several hurricanes in Florida, and anyone who lives through a natural disaster knows that it is so much more than the physical part of rebuilding. There can be a lot of mental and emotional trauma that goes along with it. I truly hope the people of Valencia have all of the resources they need that speak to all of the areas of rebuilding their lives. And speaking of rebuilding, I wanted to provide you with resources to be able to help. First, if you are in Spain, no matter where you are, many cities are coordinating efforts to send supplies to Valencia. Some of the needed items are food, clothing, blankets, shovels, toilet paper, towels, and other basic necessities. If you are near Valencia, the Food Bank of Valencia has set up shop in the Valencia CF Stadium and have volunteers receiving donations of food and basic necessities. I will put links in the description based on the major cities in Spain that are collecting, but if you are in an area not listed in my description, please Google, as there will be ways that you can help. If you are in Spain and want to physically volunteer, you can do that as well. For example, there is an association in Barcelona that is chartering buses and transporting volunteers to Valencia. I'm sure many other cities are doing the same. If you want to make a financial contribution, you can donate to the Spanish Red Cross or the Valencia Food Bank. If you have a bank account in Spain, many banks have set up ways for their account holders to make donations. If you know of more ways to be involved, please leave comments below. If you are in Valencia, our thoughts and prayers are with you and your community.